Hey, this is Sami Fodil with this um, second 15 minutes video or live that where I show you how to build things on Tailbyte. So last time we did how to create a function. This time we're gonna take it a little bit further and do some image processing. So if you're not sure how to create a function, because in this live we're gonna go straight to image processing. You can go back to the previous live, or you can always go to tau.how this, and then it will take you to our documentation. We have tutorial videos, including how to create a dfunction. And then we also have documentation on how to do it step by step. So how to log in uh, both to Web Console and how to create your project and so on. For Tau, we also have command line documentation and their tools. You can go here and see how you install Tau and how you do different things with Tau. Uh, so today we're gonna take an image. So I'm gonna use this, but you can use any image when you redo the example. Um, I'm just gonna grab it from the URL, showcasing to also like the HTTP client capability from Wasm that we have, and then we're gonna process it and turn it into something that looks like this. Um, and uh, and then to do so, like for the HTTP, we're gonna leverage the Terabyte SDK, but for image processing, we're gonna use this PureGo image processing library called Build, and it's a pretty straightforward to use library with also a nice command line, and we're just gonna import the library and use it. And this is basically what I'm doing in the image that you saw. So I'm just doing like uh, invert, resize, rotate, right? And then we can do all sorts of other things, obviously. So let's get started. So last time I walked you through the console. So here I logged in, and then I have my a project that I created, and then I just went ahead and created a function here. Generally, I like to structure it under application, but just for the sake to keep it simple, I just went to and created it as a global function, and I created a function here, and uh, just use the template. So this is why you see like here ping and ping here. I just used the template. I didn't bother modifying that. I wanted to get this like example done quickly. So I got this to work in a few minutes, like 5-10 minutes. So all of this doesn't matter. We already went through all of this, and I'm pretty sure you understand it pretty well. So let's go to some of the changes that we have on the console and on the platform in general, and then the code. So some of the changes is now for dfunctions, we treat them as a full level project, whether it's Go or Rust, assembly script, or other languages that we support. So basically, you will find like a .terabyte folder with build instructions that will come with the template if you're using a template, or you can edit that yourself. And then you can see here like I have my code. I have my code in here as well. So and I have my Go mod, so you can specify specific versions of a specific library or SDK, which wasn't possible before, but now it's possible. So let me just refresh this view. So I'm sure I have like master on code and config. Okay, and I reopen it. Okay, so let's go through the code here, but instead of doing it here, I cloned the repo and I opened it in VS Code. And basically, to clone the repo, you just go to project details. You have your two repos. You grab the repo and you clone it. You can also use Tau if that's what you want to do. It's super simple with Tau. Probably cover Tau in the next live uh, next week. So this is my project, and it's open here. So let me make it slightly bigger. Okay, so let's start with getting the image. So to get the image, I'm using um, I'm using the HTTP client from the Taubyte SDK. So I don't know, you might not know, but the network stack for WASM-WASI is not really finalized yet. So most implementation don't have like an HTTP client or any meaningful network capabilities, but we do have those at Taubyte. So you can do HTTP, you can do DNS, you can talk to IPFS, you can talk to Ethereum, and way more features as well. So in here, I'm just gonna do something simple and use the client. The usage is very similar to the Golang standard HTTP client. It's also the same in Rust. So we always try to keep it as close to standard libraries as possible. So I create a client and then I build a request, just like what you would do with net HTTP. I give it the path or the URL here, and then we run the request. It's just request.do in Go, and then grab the body, which is a read closer. So we are expected to close it from the other side. Okay, so uh, now that we know roughly how to do HTTP or how to grab things from HTTP, let's use that. So in our function, and I just left it ping because I used the ping template. So we're grabbing the event, converting it to an HTTP event, so we can send our processed image. And then what we do is we do a get. So get, and then this is the image that I showed you earlier, right? So this is the Mona Lisa image, and then we grab it. We do a defer close. So at the end of our page, we close the read closer, so it doesn't stay open. And then we're gonna decode the image, and this is using the standard Go image package. So you can see here, I imported image, and then I imported image PNG because we're using it to encode the response, but also forcing the import of JPEG so we can decode the Mona Lisa, which is JPEG. You can look at more of that if you just look at how to decode, encode images with Go. There's nothing specific. It's really just standard Go here. Um, and then now that we have our image, we're going to use effect and transform. So remember, like we imported effect here and transform, and this is straight from the example that is in that's in here in the build library, right? So they're importing effect, they're importing transform, they're importing image.io to open a file, but we're not opening a file, so we're not using that. What we did is grab in from HTTP using the HTTP client from the Taubyte Go SDK, and then we just opened it using uh, the standard Go library, which is probably what image.io.open does under the hood. Um, and then we're just gonna take that image, invert it, resize it, and rotate it, right? And then if I go back to my code, you can see here it's exactly what we did. So we invert the image, we resize it, and then we rotate it, right? And this is how we ended up with the little Mona Lisa here, right? So it's rotated 45 degrees. Let's modify that in a second here. Let me walk you through the uh, the workflow first. So okay, we rotate it. Boom. Now what is rot here? Rot is an image, right? So if you hover over it, it says image RGBA, which is uh, from standard library. So we're gonna create a buffer, and and the buffer is just like a dynamic buffer that Go standard library provides, and we're gonna encode inside that buffer our image. So we're gonna encode it using the PNG format. Once encoded, we're gonna send to the client like a content type, the HTTP header, and say, okay, I'm gonna send you an image PNG, and then we're gonna send the bytes that were written into B. Right? Super simple. Love how clean um, Go syntax and Go in general looks, and very easy to read. So let's modify this and do 60 degrees instead and save it. So now that I saved it, I need to push the code. So I can do this from here and push my code, or you can also do similar changes on the web console. So let's just go ahead and do it on web console, and that way you have a feel of it. The only difference here in a web console is you don't have uh, the the linter capabilities uh, of VS Code. I mean, because we cannot really run uh, uh, a Go language service on browser. Okay, we're gonna modify this to 60, right? And then we're gonna hit OK. Okay, so and then we're gonna push our modifications here. You can see that we only have code changes, and the code changes where I got rid of that empty line that I didn't like, and then I changed the rotation to 60. Gonna hit next, and then rotation. Just do like a quick commit message here, and we push. Last time I showed you that when you push code, you can go to builds and you can see what's happening in here. So we have an open job here, and here in a second is gonna finish building. So the way it works is we have two protocols that implement CI/CD. They're peer-to-peer protocols. This is how Talbyte works under the hood. And one is going to grab the event of pushing from GitHub and create an event in the network. And a node implementing the monkey protocol, it's how we call it, is going to grab that job and compile it and submit the final job. You can read a little bit about these in our documentation, tau.how. So you can see here that it was built and it was successful. We can see the logs of the build, and then you can even download the asset or the WASM file. So what we're gonna do is just refresh this. This is the link to the function, uh, and it should rotate because this is on the yeah. So here we go. So it rotated because it was on 45 degrees and now is on 60 degrees, right? Um, and this link here, just a recap to kind of like get you kind of like uh, located here. I just clicked here on run, right? So there is a quick uh, shortcut to call get functions or anything that goes through a get method in HTTP, and boom, here's my function call with the 60-degree rotation. Um, the other thing is the domain, like the domain that you see here was also generated. So it's a generated domain, like I just selected it here earlier, and I did that in my previous video. And you can see any generated domain in domains. Like it's not mysterious. So you can go here and see that. It has just been created automatically by web console, but it has a YAML file in the config repo and everything. And for SSL, like like the network will grab an SSL certificate if it's the first time you hit like a domain from Let's Encrypt, unless you provide your own. Um, Last thing, quickly here, so we can look also at the config in TNS, which is the protocol that keeps what's going on Talbyte and the config. So you can see here my function, it's right here, and this is my asset. This is the WebAssembly file stored in the network, just like how it would be on IPFS using a CID. Um, and then the domains are here, path and everything. Basically, a network represent. Well, this is not exactly how it is in TNS. Like it's in TNS, it's an object, but this is a JSON version of that object. But this is the compilation of both the config and the code resulted into this. uh, that's it. So hopefully you enjoyed this. I mean, and hopefully you'll just go ahead and explore explore Talbyte and explore that build library. I really love it. It's made with pure Go, and you can do more than what I just did. I just wanted to keep it straightforward and exactly or as close as what the examples on build look like. But you can do way more. I'm gonna post the code and everything in our blog later today, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. I'll see you next time. Bye.